All right, Cyber Traders, welcome on back here this Tuesday. We got September 6th here, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Let me make sure I'm good to go across not just inside the live trading room, but on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. You could hear me, but you can't see me, like John Cena. Great to see John and Mark and Jeff and Grant. Grant says we need a new list. You could certainly say that again. Now, with that, though, I mean, hey, there's a couple of things still moving up pretty nicely. Market's been within this channel across the whole day. I was expecting to see continuation on this uptrend with how well it was holding here going into the late morning. Didn't get it. Pulled back down. All right. Well, if it's not going to break higher and if it continues to pull back, then over time, I'd like to think we're going to get a little bit of a break of the lows and see this continue to drop off. Now, saying that, from last week, I was pretty confident that we would see support on the S&P right off of 39.10, 39.20, still teetering around there, but making lower highs today and dragging back down. So especially if we happen to see the lows of today break pretty cleanly, this could lead to a giant drop-off within the market. Always need to be prepared for all scenarios. Now, with that, though, a couple of stocks still moving up pretty nicely. The AVYA stock has been really well to us over the last week and a half, 2 weeks. Back from Thursday last week, we ended up seeing this make a nice squeeze up over 150, ran up beautifully at the time, even more so today. So for right now, just, hey, no problem in putting the AVYA stock just on our watch list across the afternoon. You have a big 71,000 share iceberg nearly sitting on the ask at 227, a couple pennies right off the high there. So, that should still be pretty strong heading into the afternoon. Above that, you would assume 250. I don't have my level 4, my book map open for this stock at least. Let me get that up just for this meeting. We'll break it out coming up for our next stock that we're going to show. The ISEE trade. ISEE ended up coming out with big phase 3 news just earlier in pre-market this morning. I ended up going over the full run on this stock at least up until 11 o'clock, 11:30, where we were talking about this in Traders Talk. So if you wanted to go back on that workshop, we should have that up on your student dashboard just later on this afternoon. I'll look to have that up just momentarily after we finish up this meeting. Now, Traders Talk, really briefly, is a live workshop we conduct every Tuesday morning. If you're on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, just go right down to the link on the yellow banner below right there, so you could actually access that recording that we did from this morning's Traders Talk. Now, with that, though, this thing's finally trying to break back over 15. We did really well on this trade, not just from the market open, but pre-market, and called bottom basically within a few pennies. So we ended up doing really well on this trade all throughout the morning. I was trading this, though, heading into the early to mid-afternoon again, and I was looking for this squeeze up. Didn't give it to me. Took a -2. I see this pull back down below 15. I try and jump in short before we start the meeting. Ended up getting stopped out -3. So I stopped trading this prior to the meeting after that second loser right there. And with that, it's trying to make the re-break back over 15. So we'll see if this ends up finally making the push that we would want it to make. It's been really choppy across the last couple of hours, so I was hoping like here that we would finally see some continuation. And if not, then hey, then a big pullback, retracement back down. It's still just in this tight range. So, ISEE, I'll put on our main list. Hopefully it breaks out of this range in some manner because, I just mentioned before, just before at least, I was looking for a short. The stock is easy to borrow. It's not hard to borrow. For it being up 60%, what if this fails to really continue to run higher? What if this re-breaks under 15? So those are things that you just have to think about just right now, especially timing of the day, how much it's already up. So we'll see what comes of this trade. 1501 was a big print level we ended up catching from the day so far on ISEE. Bring up level 4 book map here. We ended up seeing a 250,000 share print filled at 1501 to be exact. So, really needs to run off that level. I'd say sooner than later. We said that a little bit earlier off of the 13 level, and once it rebroke 13 again, off and running it went. So the more it doesn't do that here, it leads you to think that there's only one other way the stock is going to go. We're running out of time across the day. We only have about an hour and 20 plus minutes left, and every second counts here. So ISEE, I'll put on our main list for right now. Still extremely tradable. It's just kind of sideways moving here, but good spread, good liquidity, good price, coming off news. All right, we'll bring out Bookmap just again in a moment here, folks. Looks like SPRO not only dropped off. We were calling this out across the early afternoon, mid afternoon here, but it actually got halted. I think, right? Let me take a look. 229. 234. This got halted going down, which is pretty peculiar. I mean, it ended up running up so much, but it took a while for it to pull back, consolidate, and then bam, once it rebroke support, seemingly off of 165, 158, that is. I was going to say 160, 158, 157. Man, this thing tanked. So it actually is tradable in the sense of, well, it's volatile, right? I mean, it's a cheapie, but no, it's pretty damn volatile given how much it dropped. Is it possible for it to make a bounce back up? I'll come back to this at the end. I don't mind at least giving this a second look. Looks like the ISEE trade trying to make that squeeze off of 15. It's at 1521 right now. So we don't need to build too big of a list here, folks. We already have two good ones on there between the AVYA and the ISEE. SHPH is a gamble stock, not as in like it's a casino stock. Nope, that's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to the fact that, yeah, if you get stuck in this stock, right place, wrong time, it's an ugly drop. And this thing ended up making a huge move for us back on Thursday morning in pre-market. And I said that then, like, you're literally gambling at that point. How many shares are you really going to trade at this stock? It's on a 50-cent spread, $27 stock. If you're looking to make your days pay, it's not going to be on this stock, even if you perform well. If you make $1 on this stock, great, but how many shares are you trading on this thing? 10 shares? 50 shares? 100? Just better opportunity cost on that ISEE trade, hell, even the SPRO. So this thing right now, we're going to just pass on here for the moment. Ecom, pass on this too. I didn't even see this ticker or chart until right now. It's a buyout. So with that, we move forward. Higher, this kind of looks like a buyout here too. If I'm not mistaken, I think Mark brought up some news on this trade, I think with State Farm taking some sort of stake in this company. Mark, was that for this trade here, for the higher? Oh, no, wait. No. It was ADT. I'm looking at our private chat log right now, a different stock, which I'll get to in a moment. This looks like a buyout. It's not, but ended up making a nice move in pre-market here. Ended up topping off right around that 140 mark and then pulled back down. So, yeah, this one didn't really work out in our favor, from the morning, unfortunately. Yeah, Mark, it was that ADT stock that I recall. All right, so we're going to jump to that one in a bit, see if that's, moving. KUKE, bit of a pop and drop on that one. I am in one trade. I'm in one trade right now. It is not ISEE. I just said I wasn't in that. I have to be pretty quick on the fingers to jump in on that trade as I'm just looking at this screen here. So, FWBI, it's active. It ended up making a beautiful pop after the market opened up. It took a while to get the gears back going again, but ended up making a new high later on, but ugly shake back down. So making one more subtle bounce here, but I feel like this will kind of just be washed up at this point. It's not really trading, or I should say, it normally doesn't really trade 26 million shares, this stock. Prior to today, the stock was trading about 240,000 shares a day. So, think about that. I feel like for the amount of volume it's trading right now this afternoon, it's a lot. It's a little excessive. All right, we'll keep it going, folks. See what else we got here. The Nut X trade. I went over this with one of my students on a coaching call. I didn't trade this at all after the market opened up. I know Fausto did pretty well on this trade, at least in the phase 3 class. 305 was a key level, and I was going over that with my student in coaching afterwards, and it just goes to show how clean of a level that was. Once it rebroke that resistance throughout the morning, it ended up doing a really good job running off it, but most importantly, it pulled back there and held really well right off of 305 as support here. So resistance became support, led to the next leg up, but at this point right now, it's not looking that great here. All right, we keep it going. SLQT not looking as good. Keep it going. Cold natural gas ETF. Talk about volatility. This thing has been pretty volatile over like the last month and a half, 2 months, right? Ended up making this big squeeze up from the beginning of June, then pulled right back down heading into the beginning of July. Even for this range that it's been in, this stock has made like a decent move on the intraday charts where it's up like 5 or 8% on a given day. Today, it's up over 15. So, it would be hard for me to not put this ETF on our main list. But unless if you have level 4, I wouldn't really suggest for you to be actively trading this. It's a lot harder to follow the iceberg orders for an ETF or ETN, whether it be on level 3. Even on level 4, it's hard, but it's doable there. All right, cold. We have cold. I think we have UNG, which trades, I think, inverse. So if I look at cold, I'll look at UNG. It's tradable in that regard. Dropped off quite a bit from the late morning, early afternoon, about $1.50 point short. But I feel like the cold trade has a little bit more life to it across the afternoon. Definitely trading a lot more volume across the day, it seems. All right, let's get to the stock I'm in. Ruby ended up jumping in off of 101 is my entry price. For my trade's sake, I definitely would like to see this squeeze back up momentarily. It looks like it actually spiked all the way up towards the VWAP, and I missed my exit right there. I was looking for like 106, 107, and it broke above that, but I took my eyes off it after. Made a very quick squeeze up towards that VWAP price of 112 and pulled back down pretty quick. So I may look to scale out on this position as I'm like doing this meeting, but I feel like it's like a low risk play. It's a level 1 stock, so I'm not expecting this to like shake out 30 cents across like a 5-minute bar, 1 minute, whatever. You just got to see this really begin to hold support from this point and then look to make a move back up towards the VWAP price. I'll put this on our side list here for right now. I'll come back to the very end. All right, what else we got here, folks, to wrap up the gainer side? There's definitely a lot more that's like up that 5% plus. So if there's anything else that looks really good that I didn't have a chance to, look at just yet myself, type it in the chat board. Let me know. The scanners always refresh on me here. Let's see what else we got. No real familiar names. I'll check out Onvo because we were looking at it from early in pre-market, but this looks dead. This looks completely dead here. The Teletrade I was going over with one of my students, Mark. It's just kind of slumping along right now. Had these big volume spikes earlier, but nothing really happened with it after, right? Maybe calm before the storm type deal, but I'll pass on this for right now. Now, the ADT is the one that had that news with like the stake from State Farm. I think they had like a 45% passive stake in the company now. Led to a nice pop early and then drop off heading into the pre-market or like heading into the market open, I should say. Right now, though, it doesn't really look too good. Just pretty flat. I'm clocked out a quarter leg of my position so far, right at 105. All right, let's see what's on the loser side here, folks. Market really hasn't gone anywhere since we started the meeting. Looks like, if anything, it's dragging down a tiny amount. Got Tupperware down big, shortable. It's at the lows. And not only that, but a big volume spike came in over the last couple of minutes, like right now. I mean, a lot of that, it's not even that big in the grand scheme of like what we normally see out of other stocks. But for this stock in particular, that's a lot of volume, at least compared to the last hour and a half, 2 hours at that. So a lot of that seems to be coming off of like 761, 762-ish right here. Clocked out on most of my position on Ruby. It pulled back down a little bit more. Again, out at 102 on another half of my position. So I got a quarter left in full. For Tupperware, though, getting back to this trade, I mean, we saw this big spike down, squeeze back up a bit. Let's see what happens around this 761, 760. If it re-breaks under 761, 760, I can see this dragging back down lower to 750. Then we'll see what happens from that point. So as a short, Tupperware looks pretty interesting here. All right, what else we got here? It's been a really good day so far, mainly on the ISEE trade, really. Even if it's running a little without me right now, there's going to be room to try and jump back in on that one. That's for sure. All right, folks, I think that just about wraps it up for me here, unless if there's anything else completely that I overlooked, let me know. EPOW thin book. Yeah, we saw that one just before. Ended up making a pretty big squeeze, but mm, I want to see what happens to this trade in the next, literally the next 1 or 2 minutes, because the volume peaked off right here and it started to drag back down already. So one more big shakedown, and I would totally write it off. Like, it needs to hold here, and then very, very much sooner than later, look to re-break and then look to run higher. Um, See, I'm not even too keen to put this on our main list just yet, Grant. We got nothing right now from social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, and that's A-OK. I mean, hey, we're coming off Labor Day. So, not only is it kind of a light market out there in terms of the volume traded, but I just know this from being inside our live trading room. We have a lot of us here, but we still have some folks that are looking to come back over the next week and a half or so. There we go. All right. Write this one off. Scratch this one off your list. The Ruby trade doesn't hurt us to put this on our list. Super low risk, if anything. It's not just because I'm in the trade on a quarter-size position left, but just level 1 stock. Then the SPRO here from this point forward doesn't really look as good. There was a chance to where I said that based off how much it ran up and pulled back, maybe there's one more little bounce left to it, but I'm going to pass here. Ray says Bed Bath Beyond Big Iceberg at 7. I forgot about. Oh, whoops. BBBY. There we go. Yeah, I ended up missing this as a short, but really, I missed out on like 18 to 20 cents worth, but damn, it would have taken me a long amount of time to get that. Once it pulled back down towards the opening print here, it held under it pretty well. But, we talked about this in Traders Talk, opportunity cost. There's always going to be stocks moving without you in it. So, if it broke down a lot sooner than it did and made that move, I would have been regretting it more. But I don't like being in a trade for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So I probably would have gotten out a little bit earlier. But right now, hey, it could still be a pretty interesting short. It's hard to borrow now on TradeStation. I just realized that now. For some reason this morning, they ended up making it easy to borrow. I jokingly said, I was like, oh, who made that mistake? Because it seemed like a pretty inevitable short, but man, this was like a slow poke across the afternoon. Hey, if you could short it, I'm going to put it on our watch list for those that can. So just check with your broker, double check with your broker, use the intraday short locate app or whatnot, and check to see if you can get shares. APGN from John, low volume, and I'm going from top to bottom, John. So John did say before I jumped to this, he said low volume, forget it. All right. Well, he is correct. I mean, it's at the highs, and it's worth the look. But when you see the order book, yeah. But John knows that, though. He was quick to make that correction there. All right. What else we got here, folks? Anything else? Lastly, we got the higher stock, perhaps. Nah. It's like trying to eke back up a few pennies, but that's really it. Onvo, not much happening there. Now, as far as looking for some potential shorts, should we happen to see the markets pull back down one more time here, Mark's saying Intel INTC is at the low of the day, but it's also at a yearly low right now. And I mean, I believe Mark, and certainly looking at the daily chart here, absolutely correct. So, hey, as a potential short, Intel looks pretty interesting. Let me check out AMD, the other semiconductors out there. Nah, Intel looks the best as a short opportunity, Mark. I would say big support likely off of 30 coming up as well. In the event where the markets drop off, I'm going to put Intel on our main list for that reason, but I'm not going to put every stock that looks like this on our list now. We might have 30 stocks on our list if we're going to put everything that looks like Intel on there. The fact that it's at 12-month lows, I like more than anything that Mark pointed out. And, if the markets drop off a little bit more, we should get that short. All right, folks, I think that just about wraps it up for me here. For all of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube. Once more, if you're interested in joining our live trading room, just go right down to the link on the yellow banner below. Or otherwise, if you have any other questions, feel more than free to send over a quick email. I have to get back to a few of us, by the way. I was celebrating the birthday over the weekend on Saturday into Sunday, and Monday, Labor Day yesterday. So I'm going to get back to a lot of us that I didn't have the chance to get back to tonight. So if you sent me an email over the last 24, 48 hours, I will be getting back to you by tonight. I want you to know that. All right, folks, but with that in mind, for all of us inside the live trading room at least, Mark, John, Ray, Jeff, and Grant, and Leda, and all of us there right now, Rich will be on the mic from 3 to 4. I will be on a coaching call from 3 to 3:30. I may still be in the chat, though, looking to take a trade or two from that point forward, though. So I'll talk to you guys coming up pretty shortly. Take care. Oh, lastly, Rich, I appreciate you saving me there at the end. Fausto is doing the Phase 3 classes coming up right at 3 o'clock Eastern time as well. 3:05, he'll be on the mic in that classroom. So if you wanted to join for any of our gold, platinum, or diamond CTU students, make sure that you click the link inside the chat board, inside the cyber group room, that is I'm referring to, so you can get access to the Phase 3 stock class with Fausto. All right, folks, talk to you all soon. Take care.
Become a cyber group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.